In this video, I'm going to show you how to format text in the cells in your Google Sheet. I'm going to cover how to format the text in the cells, how to highlight the cells, both changing the text and the background color, how to insert hyperlinks, insert images, resize or reformat a large amount of data all at once, how to view and hide your grid lines, how to copy and paste your formatting, and how to clear off all your formatting. Let's get started. The first thing that you're going to need to look at is this section right up here. This is going to be covering all of our different formatting options as well as this particular column here. What you'll notice is I have this first row, these different cells have been bolded. The way to do that is you select any particular cell and then you go right here and I can click on bold. That's going to make the text bold within it. There's also the keyboard shortcut, probably worth learning, Control B. So I could take this, bold that, bold this, bold that, or bold that. The other options we have is I could make this particular cell italics, where it's going to put a slight italic spin on each one. Again, I'm just clicking on this button here, but I also have the option of hitting Control-I for italics. There's also the strike through function. That one is a little bit harder of a shortcut, but it's Alt-Shift-5, and it's going to put a single line through each and every one of these different cells here. Other options we have, you need to go up into the Format menu. I could also do underline, and I could also change the font size of each particular cell. To do that, I'm going to select my cell, and right here I have this number, and it's giving me all these different numbers I could do. You'll of course see that it's making that data a little bit larger than it is. I could always resize that to fit by double-clicking there, but that's how I could change my font size. I also have the option to change the different kind of font. I could go here from Arial to Courier New, or Trebuchet, or anything else. One thing to be aware of, the numbers, even though it's listing all these different ones here, I could also input my own number. So it has 11 and 12 and 14, but I could actually do size 13 as well. So it's anything you could click it in there, it's just not something that they automatically suggested. If you ever find yourself having junked up a bunch of different stuff, you can select all of them and I go to Format and Clear Formatting, or you can also do Control and backslash. That's going to clear it all and send it back to default. In addition to all these different things with my font, I can also change the font color. To do so, I select my cell, and then right up here next to my other options, I have the option to change text color. Let's try something like red, and you can see how that makes it stand out a little bit more from there. Another thing that you can do that will really make your data stand out is to highlight the background of each cell. So let's say I select this particular cell. Next to my font formatting options, I can start working with the cell. I'm going to change the fill color here, and I'm going to make it yellow. You can see how this definitely draws attention to that particular cell. This one I could do green, this one I could do blue, and so on and so forth. One other thing you may have noticed is that I have a couple hyperlinks built into my actual spreadsheet. Those are very, very easy to enter. All you need to do is select the cell or cells that you want, and you're going to hit Control-K, and it's going to pop up a list. It's also going to try to find its own links. I'm going to find my own. Right now I want to link this to starwars.com. So right now I have it selected, hit Control-K, and I'm going to paste my link. Now when I do so, it's going to put the blue underlined text there indicating that this is the link that it's planning on going to. Another thing that you have the option to do is to insert images. In this case, I have the URL for a particular image that I want. I'm going to copy that, and on my actual spreadsheet, I'm going to go to Insert, Image. Now, there's a lot of different ways that we can upload, as I've shown before. I'm going to go by URL. I'm going to paste it here. It's going to load it up. You hit select, and it'll take a moment, and then it's loaded. Now, of course, that isn't where I want. So I'm going to click on the image, and I have those blue lines around it, and the hand appears when I put my mouse over it. I'm going to drag it up here, and by putting your cursor over the corners, you can move it as necessary, placing it wherever you want inside your spreadsheet. Now that we're comfortable with the basics, some of the shortcuts that are particularly handy to have are Control and Shift and the arrow keys. Right now I have it selected at cell A1. Let's say I want to jump down here to cell A26. You of course could just use the arrow keys and scroll down to there, or I could just use my mouse and jump around. One of the fastest ways is to navigate without having to leave the keyboard. In this case, I'm going to hold the Control button and hit the down. In this case, it jumps to my last entry in this particular column. Let's say I want to go to the one all the way over here. I could use the arrow keys and move to the right, or I could click again, but this case, I'm going to use Control and right. It does that, and it's going to jump it over to there. Want to jump to the top? Control up. So by using the Control and the arrow keys, I can jump to the edges of my data, making it a lot easier to navigate around with there. Now let's say I want to format a bunch of cells at once. What I could do is I could use my mouse and select a bunch of them like that, but that's a slower way to do it. Again, there's a way to do that without having to take your hands off of the keyboard. I'm going to hold the shift button and the down, and it's going to select them all like this. I could even go over more and start adding more columns here. Let's say I want to change them all to be italics. I could do so just like that, or bold, or underline, or whatever you need. So the shift button allows you to select. Where things get really nice is when you start combining them. Control plus shift. So remember, shift will start moving them up and down like this, so shift plus the arrow key, but I could select faster with control shift arrow key. So I selected this entire column here with control shift arrow key. Let's say I want to select all the way to the right. I could do it like that. So with control shift down, now just using shift, I could start adding on individual rows, or the whole thing could be done control shift down and to the right. One more final thing that we can do with formatting is the grid lines. You can see each cell has a definite gray rectangular border. That is how the default is, that's how most spreadsheet programs use, but that's not to say it has to be there. What you can do is you can go to View and click Grid Lines. Now it's going to remove them. Each cell is going to work the exact same as it did before. Again, here I am selecting just like I would do otherwise, but I just don't see the grid lines. You can change the format if that's something that you want. Now, sometimes you may have had a very large amount of formatting put into a single cell. Let me demonstrate. Now in this particular cell, I've changed the font size, the type of font, the background color, the italicized, and the actual text itself. Let's say I want to use that again for this particular one. Now, I could go through that whole one process and do everything that I just did, but there's a faster way. I'm going to select my cell, and up here next to the print, undo, and redo buttons, we have paint format. I have my cell selected. I'm going to click it once. This is a paint roller here, and then I'm going to go to the cell that I want. And right now it's going to paste everything that I did right there. You could even do this on more than one cell if you want. Let's say you've got that one cell exactly the way you want it. I'm going to paint format, and now I have the ability to do that with multiple things. I just select and release, and it's going to take care of it. So again, click the cell you want, paint format, select all that you want, and release. You don't even need to paint it again, and it will take care of all that. Again, if you find yourself with a bunch of stuff you don't want, select it all and go to Format, Clear Formatting, or alternatively, you can just use the shortcut Control and Backspace. That's the one above your Enter key, and it will reset it back to default. This won't clear off hyperlink URLs, but it will take care of everything else.